David McCullough's debut work, The Johnstown Flood, 1968, is a social history that examines the catastrophic Johnstown Flood of 1889. This disaster devastated a steel town in central Pennsylvania, killing over 2,000 people and inflicting millions of dollars in damage. The flood was caused by the collapse of a dam situated in the mountains above Johnstown. Originally constructed to create a lake for an exclusive summer resort, the dam was hastily built, and although its structural weaknesses were well known, efforts to reinforce it were ignored. The ensuing tragedy is a tale of greed, negligence, and social inequality. To tell this story, McCullough interviewed some of the few survivors of the flood, which became a national scandal and a defining moment in American history. Johnstown, located about 70 miles east of Pittsburgh, was founded in 1800 at the confluence of the Stony Creek and Little Conemaugh rivers, where they merged to form the Conemaugh River. The town, nestled in a deep valley surrounded by the Allegheny Mountains, was vulnerable to flooding after heavy rains. The situation was exacerbated by developers narrowing the river to allow for industrial growth along its banks. In response, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania built the South Fork Dam in 1853 to help prevent flooding. However, as economic shifts led to the decline of canal and river-based industry and the rise of railroads, the state sold the dam and its reservoirs to private interests. These speculators, seeking to turn the area into an exclusive vacation spot, weakened the dam's structure. They lowered the dam to accommodate a road on top, removed essential pipes and relief valves to sell as scrap metal, and allowed the dam to spring leaks over the years. The leaks were poorly patched with mud and straw, but never properly repaired. By May 29 and 30, 1889, the Conemaugh River Valley received the heaviest rainfall ever recorded. On May 31st, the swollen reservoir began to overflow, and local residents, led by South Fork Fishing and Hunting Club President Elias Unger, attempted to save the dam. Some tried to reinforce it by piling mud on top to prevent a breach. Others tried to dig ditches alongside the dam to direct the water away without causing the structure to collapse. Some observed that fish traps, installed in recent years, had accumulated debris, blocking water from flowing through the relief valves. Meanwhile, the men sent urgent telegraphs to Johnstown, warning of an imminent dam failure, but local authorities dismissed the alarms as false. By early afternoon, Unger and his team gave up their efforts, convinced the dam would break. They fled to higher ground to save themselves. About an hour later, the dam finally gave way, releasing 14.55 cubic meters of water, almost 4 billion gallons, into the valley below. As the water surged toward Johnstown, it carried debris, trees, and pieces of destroyed homes, growing faster as it traveled. The torrent was briefly stopped by debris that piled up under the Conemaugh Viaduct Bridge, but once the bridge gave way, the water surged even faster and more powerfully due to the pressure built up behind it. By the time the wave reached Johnstown, it had already killed hundreds in several small towns, including 314 people in Woodvale. The water had also swept up barbed wire and entire railroad cars. When Johnstown's residents saw the wave approaching, it was 60 feet high and traveling at 40 miles per hour. A second wave also surged through the valley from the opposite direction, as gravity pulled water back down the other side. In total, 2,209 people were reported dead, although McCullough identifies at least one survivor, Leroy Temple, who had been presumed dead but reappeared in reports years later. Despite debates about the exact death toll, the Johnstown Flood remains the deadliest non-military disaster in U.S. history, surpassed only by the 1900 Galveston hurricane and the September 11 attacks. In the aftermath, survivors sought legal restitution, primarily targeting the owners and members of the South Fork Fishing and Hunting Club, whose modifications to the dam had weakened its structure. While some wealthy club members personally donated relief funds, the courts did not hold the club responsible, labeling the flood an act of God. However, in the years that followed, state courts set new precedents for handling liability in similar disasters, enabling survivors to seek compensation from both negligent and non-negligent parties. The Johnstown Flood is a meticulously researched account of one of the deadliest and arguably preventable tragedies in American history. This study guide is based on the 50th anniversary ebook edition of the Johnstown Flood, published in 2018. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy this video, leave a like and subscribe.